What are your mental health challenges?
Mine usually stem in areas of focus and in areas of just impulsivity. Sometimes it's hard for me to stay focused for long periods of time, and I think that can turn into anxiety, which again can breed impulsivity. That can be challenging at times, especially trying to stay on top of work when I have a bunch of different things. Multitasking is a challenge that I try to work with and try to really use that 52-17 rule where I can work for 45 minutes to an hour, and then after that, go do something different. Go downstairs or for 15 minutes, disengage, then try another task, redo the same thing, but pick it up later. Know when, okay, I'm not being effective right now. I need like a 15-minute break, or I need to like change it up or do something, get my brain off work because I'm just, running into the same thought process or obstacles.
Hey there, go getters! I'm Mike Ivashu, host of Busy Done Better, the podcast designed to help you embrace and enjoy your busy work life. A programmer since the age of 12, my journey has taken me from an employee to business owner and founder of Bookedin online scheduling. But I'm not here to brag about my success or sell you my 10-step plan. The truth is, on many days, I still struggle to keep it all together. Wearing too many hats, having to lead when I don't feel like a leader, solving problems I know little about, struggling to be present with family when all I can do is think about work. Whether you're running a $10 million company, a small business, or working a demanding job, you're likely familiar with these challenges. On this podcast, we examine the dark side of business life, significance of mental health, dynamics of remote work, and the ever changing meaning of work life balance, and hopefully make your busy and hectic day a little more interesting and enjoyable. In today's episode, I'm talking with Christian Steeds, head of sales at Bookedin. Christian's energy and authentic approach to sales has helped Bookedin make big improvements to its sales process. And to think, it all started with Portuguese dancing. We reflect on the trials and errors of finding the right sales strategy, the importance of engaging early with customers, and how AI can transform the sales process. Christian also shares his tips on dealing with the challenge of having an impulsive personality and staying focused. All this plus soccer, music, and cold immersion tubs. So get ready to be inspired, to learn, and to witness firsthand how sticking your face in a bowl full of ice water can accelerate your career. First podcast recording, so thanks Christian for joining me in this podcast run here. So you're we've been how long have we been working together now?
Going on 3 years.
So I actually went through and watched the other day I went back and watched your original interview with Leanne.
Oh, really?
It was like exactly you, like hasn't changed it at all. Just totally casual, totally natural. You were outside, your internet was dead, you were using
Oh
your
my! In Halifax.
yeah, and you were using your roommate's cell phone and like basically everything possible that could have gone wrong to do an interview remotely went wrong for you, and yet you're
No, I remember that distinctly. Actually, was I gonna actually be able to do the interview, but no, it ended up working out. We actually had the power go out in the building because there was like wasn't a hurricane, but there had been I think there was a hurricane in Halifax like around that time, like a light moderate one. It didn't really do a lot of
yeah.
damage, but it did like knock out power.
But you know what was funny was I was watching the thing and thinking to myself, like, you didn't look nervous at all. Like you were just so natural despite the fact that all these things were quite a bit nervous. Like
Well, I was just like, I was
bouncing
like,
off my
ah,
game.
can't get much worse. I was like, ah, well, like I'm outside. Like
Yeah.
they're gonna think I'm so unprofessional anyways, and they're gonna be like, "Did you
Yeah.
steal this? Did you steal this person's phone? Like, are you the actual person I'm interviewing?" And you're outside, and but no, Leanne was really nice and understanding about it, which was very cool for me.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, no, for sure. So one of the things I know I've learned about you over the last 3 years is you love soccer. So I've always been curious. I know we talked about it a little bit. You play in the kind of the league just below, right?
yeah,
The Canadian professional
no,
Premier
I
Soccer
play.
League.
Yeah, I play in the league just below the Premier League. So there's the Canadian
Right.
Professional League. Then there's one tier below it called like Canadian Premier, and then there's the Division One, and I'm in the Division One. So technically two below the CPL here in Canada.
Yeah. At what point did you start playing soccer?
When I was ever since I was kid, like
Little kid?
yeah, like probably 3, 4 years old.
Did
My
you?
dad played all these, so I
Oh,
obviously
okay.
grew up, yeah,
Yeah,
playing. Yeah,
yeah. And being Portuguese and Ronaldo and all that. And that was during Ronaldo's prime, right?
born like it was like the old school guys still, and Ronaldo came around when I was about say about 12, and that's when he really started to like come up and like be someone that was on like the radar of everybody. And so
Did you play many other sports or was it always soccer?
I played all sports: gymnastics, dancing, basketball, soccer, football, hockey,
Wow.
everything. Yeah.
When did you sort of start to specialize? I'm actually partly asking because my son's on the verge of like he's been talking quite a bit in the last 6 months or so about he's thinking he wants to specialize in soccer. He just loves it more. And I'm wondering, I'm more or less thinking I'll just go with his natural, if that's what he wants to do. It's kind of easier for us too than lugging him around multiple sports. But there is that argument for playing multi sports. So at what point did you specialize and kind of stop playing other sports, or did you play multiple sports all the way through?
I pretty much played multiple sports all the way through because I would play like in school extracurriculars, but I would specialize. I say I started specializing in sports around that 12, 13 age. That's like I definitely overwhelmingly played more soccer tournaments. I was at more soccer camps. But I also actually did golf camps when I was a kid. I did like mini U camps. I did like camps that were like multi-sport. Just
Oh,
because
okay.
again, there was kind of just like I was a very athletic kid and I just enjoyed playing all the different sports because there's a lot of time in the day when you're a kid and you're not working, right? Like there's a lot of time when you're not in school during the summers to actually do things, and you're not going out for drinks and going to restaurants. You don't have money to spend when you're those ages. So like, what do? You play sports and you
Yeah, yeah.
do that kind of stuff. Thankfully my parents could afford it.
So from 13 on, did you play other sports as well when you start playing provincials?
No, pretty much not. Nothing really. I still had like my mom made me do dance. I had to do dance, like Portuguese dance, which is kind of crazy.
Oh, okay, okay.
Um, but no, anything that was like at St. John Brebeuf, the time like I did volleyball for St. John Brebeuf like developmental basketball team,
Yeah.
and then like at St. Paul's I did soccer and football. So I played for the St. Paul's high school team, and I played for the football team, and then also
Oh,
tried to
wow.
play provincials.
Yeah, that makes so you pretty much jumped on anything that was sports.
I was a very like if I wasn't in sports, I was causing trouble. So like
Right.
there was a large incentive for me, my parents and myself really to like be an organized sport because if it wasn't an organized sport, I wasn't filling my time with anything useful. Playing video games and sitting around and watching TV was not something my parents wanted me to do because
Yeah.
I would again do that or I would be out causing trouble with my friends.
Yeah.
So
How long did you do dance?
like up until I was like probably 15, 16.
Do you feel like dance helped your sports?
Definitely coordination for sure.
Yeah.
Like I can't like when I was doing dance, I feel like I just was more coordinated with my feet because I mean you're moving, you're spinning, you're like doing timing and rhythm. I
Yeah.
actually did it for a long time and I played soccer, which if you could like both of those go really well together, right? Like if you can have a rhythm with dribbling or with juggling the ball specifically and just you're good on your feet and like you're coordinated, just helps adapt to certain instances in the game better for sure.
Yeah. How hard did your mom have to push to get you to do it? Like, were you kind of really resistant or?
Yes, absolutely. Not it was not it was I was not a fan of it. I had like a really good class like group of guys that I graduated with, like but they were guys, right? And none of them
Yeah.
did dance. and I did dance. So like that was just not something that
Yeah.
I was a fan
Yeah.
of. Plus, it was on Friday nights. It was every Friday night till like 8:30 p.m. And like when you're a kid, hanging out till 8:30, 9:30 p.m. is like that's late. Like you
Yeah.
know. So
Oh yeah. Did your mom kind of give you an ultimatum, like you have to
no.
dance or you're not going to do sports, or well,
Oh
how did she
yes,
force you to do it?
yes. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. There was things. There was privileges that were revoked, and conversations that were not like had no chance of me winning that were had for years. Yes. And eventually she caved once I became old enough. But
Yeah.
yes.
That's interesting because my son actually is a very good dancer. When he's on his own and nobody's around, he'll turn on music and just start dancing and he moves. I mean, I'm no expert dance judge, but he moves really well. Like, and it's
Yeah.
not just, white guy dancing. It's
Yeah, no, no, absolutely.
it's the real deal. And we've been bugging him and we put him in dance very early on, but the options like very early are really lame for young kids. Like it's a lot of standing around and move your arm here, and so he just wasn't into it. And then, but
That's
now
hip hop.
because yeah, the same reason that you brought up, we brought it up with him, like, Emerson, why don't you try dancing? And he just keeps flat out, no, I just I just want to keep it my own thing. And I keep telling him, a lot of athletes uh do dance to improve their athletics. In fact, I think there's quite a few that have done ballet, for example, that has done a lot for their athletics, right?
Yeah, no, that definitely sounds like something that athletes do. Like I know yoga and dance and those type of like not like or like different kind of niche exercises athletes definitely do. One thing I know about dancing is I'm always sweating when I'm on the dance floor. So it is no doubt a good workout and
Workout, yeah.
a good conditioning workout in coordination as well too. Well, another good one that I did too is gymnastics. That was like not light dance, but
A few times I've had discussions with that. If you want to sort of look at how to sort of set your child up for being competent, I guess, in athletics in general, whatever athletics that they may choose. At the beginning, kids don't know what they want, right? So
yeah,
you just put them on stuff and see what sticks. But starting with, I think gymnastics at the beginning is so core and important in developing coordination, strength, that translates into basically every other sport. And dance too. There's something about music, that
oh yeah.
is very primal.
It allows you to push yourself really easy. Like find like a really instant motivation to like in that moment, like for example, I always think about like when I'm working out or something. If I'm working out, it's like if I have a good workout playlist on, and I'm like pushing out like a rep on bench press or something like that. Right on that like eighth or ninth rep when it's like the hardest, you're trying to get to that 10th rep. Like I find that like music is very interesting in the way that like extra gear almost just to push for like 1 to 2 seconds or whatever, just to like push it up. Like when you see people at concerts and they're like mosh pitting or like going for hours and hours and
Yeah,
hours. And
yeah,
these people are generally like, older or like for the most part, like I see people that are older all the time, like that focus or things like jumping up for long periods of time. And most normally they wouldn't do that. And it's because of the music, I guess, just allows them to
yeah,
find that extra endurance or that extra
yeah,
dopamine release to really, you know, kind of push themselves.
yeah. I remember one of my jiu-jitsu instructors, first time I ever heard him equating swimming to martial arts, in that swimming is a life skill and everybody understands that. And his argument always, and he said he would say this to a lot of parents who would put their kids in martial arts and then kind of pull them out, and they treat it as kind of an option, right? Just another sport. And he would sort of talk to them and say, well, how do you look at swimming? And well, swimming is not an option because it's a life skill. You don't want your kid to drown. And then he said, well, we live in a world full of aggression, full of, they'll encounter more of that than they will encounter chance of drowning in a lake.
Yeah.
And so he kind of painted it as, a very also an innate skill. And his words were, there's two things that humans can't do innately when they're born. They can't swim and they can't defend themselves. And that's totally true. Like humans biologically have no, like, you go up against another animal, like we're useless, right?
Yeah.
That's why we
Yeah.
invented guns and knives and but
Yeah.
like hand-to-hand combat, where unless we're trained, right? So, but yet
Yeah.
it's such a core part of our existence, and anxiety and ability to deal with even minor levels of aggression. But this discussion's also made me think about music and dancing, because everybody, I think, to some degree appreciates music. Everybody likes some kind of music. Just listening to music, just hearing it, is one kind of level of engagement. But then dancing, if you dance to music, you absorb that music and that sound in a much deeper way, right? And so you
Yeah.
engage with music in a much deeper way when you move your whole body to it, right?
Oh
And
yeah.
I almost kind of think from that perspective, and I mean, music is arguably, it predates everything. Like sound predates, even like the Big Bang, there was sound waves at the beginning. Putting your kids in dance and doing everything early to give them skills to be able to engage with music in a deep way could actually be argued to be very important in terms of I don't know if survival, but definitely in terms of feeling alive.
No, absolutely. I completely agree. And I think that's why people have a connection with music, and that just is that almost instinctual connection with a certain sound vibration that is like resonates with, your being or whatever, or your current taste at that time. And
Our sales and marketing journey's been very interesting. I mean, when you came on board, you were the first salesperson we hired. It's the lead generation that's the toughest, right? We've kind of gone back and forth between, okay, let's focus our sales efforts on converting
yeah,
existing leads that come in through digital acquisition channels, and then experimenting with using sales more for direct outbound, which we've been doing lately with emails. That's a lot tougher, right? It's tougher to get ROI when you're doing cold. It's hard to do cold outreach.
yeah,
And what we've been sort of, where we're at now, I think, is we're realizing that it could very well be a volume game, right? You need systems, you need software that you can really scale the efforts out wide.
yeah,
So that's kind of what we're looking at. But yeah, it's definitely been a journey.
yeah.
A lot of frustrations. Okay.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Lots of trial and error, lots of frustration, lots of time and money sank into this. And yeah, and it is slowly emerging, but we have had some wins along the way as well too. We have had found some breaks, and we have had some, some good insights into what works and what doesn't work, and how to we're slowly building on what does work.
What's your take on, what's working, what we need to double down on, and maybe what we need to do let go of? Or
Well, I think what's working is, again, the convert improving our conversion through outbound outreach, whether that's a mixture, that's like obviously a mixture of sales calls, emails, and all those kind of things. I think amplifying those touch points in a smart way is the best way to go. So obviously calling the customers a few more times, increasing the over amount of customer calls that we just conduct, and then continuing to work with people that have churned. Working in those capacities, I think, is what's going to, again, over time, as we improve the touch points, the quickness and the frequency of touching those people, will improve, again, long lasting conversions, and more of them. And I think that, we definitely need to double down and continue to do those sales strategies and get it to a point where we have that strategy solidified, and then we're just focusing on increasing the amount of leads that go into that strategy.
why do you think it makes a difference to reach out and reach out multiple times to customers.
I
Kind
think
of,
people now have like a shorter attention span for sure. There's more products shoved at them and in their face than ever before. Um, their phones and the screens around them are pretty much just TVs now as well too. So I mean, you have advertisements everywhere. These advertisements are also, personalized. So anytime anyone's ever searched up anything like our product, who may be in the market for our product and has downloaded something like our product, will probably get marketed with competitors of our product. And they may forget with these short attention spans, they may forget, using our product, they may forget having our account if they don't use it every time. You never know. Or if they like our stuff, and it's important for us to be frequently enticing them to download the product and use our software, and inevitably see features that they didn't know that they needed, we don't offer, that other competitors do.
yeah, that makes total sense. That's kind of how I viewed it too. How much of it do you think is just more basic need for connection? Many of the industries where you need to set appointments, it's helping people. It's their job literally is to perform services for people. So I think most don't get into that. You'd never consider that a career if you don't like talking to people, if you don't like engaging with people. That's what they think of when they think of Bookedin, the relationships they have with the people that they've connected with there. I still believe that that's, this the old saying that people don't buy things, they buy people, right?
Yeah.
Good salespeople understand that. I think that they a good salesperson knows, if I can get them to buy into me and buy me and want me to come around, you know what I mean? Like,
Yep.
again, then they'll just buy whatever product I'm selling. Doesn't matter. Like, couches, TVs, software, whatever. Because they just want me to, they like chatting with me. They like me as a person. There's some of that. I know I've been on the other end of being a consumer of products where I definitely have purchased products, stuck with products, because that company has put in time into me, has invested time into me in terms of, reached out on a personal level. That's where I didn't see sales as valuable in that whole creating a connection and almost building your brand, like using like salespeople help to build your brand. I've only ever looked at salespeople as, well, they're just there to trick somebody, fool somebody into handing over their money. They're shysters.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think that's why I stayed away from sales for quite a while, trying to build the product to be a touchless acquisition product. But yeah, realizing over time that there was that gap, right? Our customers are very people oriented. We're trying to build a touchless acquisition model. There's a gap. We need to bring in people that engage, because that's what these people appreciate, our customers appreciate. So yeah, I think it's been great, and it's fun. Sales is fun. I never realized that,
Yeah.
like, it's fun
It
because
does. It's when you, especially when you have good leads and you actually have a good chance to make commission and do it. That's why, again, like I'm interested in doing more calls so I can just have a treadmill in front of in front of here, in front of my screen. And I just go through different calls. I'm not kidding you. Blow it up to like third or like, 80-90% of the screen. So it's just the phone burner thing.
yeah,
Have a clicker that goes to that's like a mouse. You could definitely have one. And I can just I could probably actually get that now that I think. I just had that, just made me give me an idea. I could probably just get a clicker and go between all of the options of which disposition I'd like to do. And I can just
yeah.
call them.
Have you ever given thought to how AI will impact sales? Like, not necessarily marketing. We know already there's everybody and their
Yeah.
dogs using AI to create marketing copy and marketing emails.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, obviously with follow up, automating follow up and just next level, different people emailing each other. I think things like Bard, like Microsoft Bard. I was it wait, is it
Google.
Microsoft? Google
That's
Bard,
Google.
sorry.
Yeah.
Google Bard. Like where it's kind of like a holistic suite of like AI. So like realizing that like, oh, this person, you have past conversations with them in your Gmail here based on that. Like we're automatically going to set your follow-up account or follow-up meeting for this day, like you guys discussed over the phone that you did on Google Hangouts. And
Yeah.
while you did that, we're also going to start drafting out that proposal that you said on your Google Docs. And in the Google Docs, we'll have all of the list of all the clients he wants to contact, and we'll get those all preloaded up into a mass email merge for you. That way you can set that up. Should we just start the process? And then essentially, I think sales, especially at that level with AI tools like that, because that is going to be implemented as soon as it's ready to like go. Like, absolutely, it helps. It helps me sometimes when I'm in a pinch. Like if I need to write something up, I'll use AI and say, find me, again, competitors of this or reviews on this product or
I know our developers have been using it, uh, Copilot anyway. It's a AI tool that I think Microsoft built
yeah,
to generate code, and that's been mind blowing when I saw a demo from one of our devs on how much it helps to increase the speed of development. So that's super exciting. But I mean, everyone's gonna have that capability, right? So it's just gonna raise the bar for everybody. It's not like it's gonna give one or two companies a big, an
yeah,
advantage. Just getting on it quickly, right? So that's why I told our team, the minute I saw that, it's like, okay, everybody, right now, new initiative, weekly learning, lunch and learns. I want to adopt this as quickly as
yeah,
as possible, because now it's a race. Literally, it's a race
yeah,
to which companies can adopt AI the quickest in terms of getting market momentum and market share, larger market share, right?
yeah,
So I'm not too worried about the whole replacing humans. I think that's way overblown. I
yeah.
think certain jobs may
Undeniably, it
be
will be
reduced for sure, but
copywriters
I
for
don't
sure.
know if they'll be really eliminated as much as changed. Copywriters may not be creating copy from scratch, but they certainly have to still create copy, but now by using AI. They still have to vet the
Yeah,
copy that AI creates, possibly polish it a little bit, possibly make some changes, whatever. So you still need a human to do that.
yeah,
Like AI is not gonna replace that. So it's really just about adopting and building now a relationship with AI and making it a regular part of everyday life, like electricity, for example, like
yeah.
type of thing. So yeah, it'll be you're right though, the follow-ups and the back and forth, for example, can definitely be, because there's so much of the same questions and the same answers that you get, right? There was a startup that I remember looking at a while back that was creating a purely AI based virtual assistant that sort of did that, where you would, if you needed a time to meet somebody, or instead of emailing and the person picking it up and then looking in their calendar and blah blah blah, you would literally email. They would hand off that task. And it's like x.com or something weird like that, something
There's a lot
really
of them.
short. Yeah. So but yeah, now have you heard of Motion?
I am not.
I just saw it again, a Facebook ad, but I checked it out, and it's a software. I'm sure there's probably more than one of these, but it's essentially, there's now AI based tools that are attempting to help with prioritization of your work. So they automatically prioritize. So I think, if I understand the gist of it, you feed them a bunch of like what type of work you need to do, and kind of how you like to work, some initial parameters, if you will, and you sync your calendars as well, so the AI can see your pattern of when your meetings are, and slowly it starts to dictate. So it gets to a point where, instead of you waking up every morning going, okay, what do I need to do today, and spending time to sort out your day and what your
Mhm.
priorities are, the AI does that for you. So it literally, you wake up, the AI will say, okay, starting at 9 o'clock, you need to respond to emails, and it'll tell you how long to spend on that. based
Mhm.
on how many emails you have maybe, or what else you have in that day. It'll
Yeah.
say, okay, your next 30 minutes you're spending on, and then if you have a particular project you're working on, okay, next hour and a half you got to work on you're going to work on this project. Then we've set up a meeting for you. Then, like, literally, so
Yeah.
I read some reviews and they were very mixed about how well it actually works.
Yeah.
I'm I'm not a when I was younger, I was an early adopter of stuff. I love jumping on new things, but now I wait
Yeah.
because I just don't have time to be an early adopter. So I'm kind of curious, and I was like tempted to try it, but then I know that if I touch this, it's gonna be 3 days of me monkeying around with this, and then I won't do any work. So
That's
and
funny.
it's early still, right? So it's good chance that they're not really that valuable yet. So but it's so much stuff coming out. I was talking with a guy I know the other day we were talking about AI, and he was feeling the pressure for his work to just, he was saying, it's you you have to read, like you have to really, like, now you have to read,
Yeah.
you have to keep up, you have to understand all the things that are
It's
coming
going so
out,
fast.
because if you can really fall behind quickly now,
Yeah.
and fall behind the ball. So I feel us as a company, we have to really make embracing AI as a priority at all levels, right? Sales, marketing, definitely tech development.
Yeah.
So maybe we can get the AI to replace the founder.
There you go.
Not
And
sure
you can
that would
go,
be.
then you can go and make your son a soccer prodigy.
Yeah, and drive people crazy elsewhere. Um, yeah, cool. So what, in terms of, I want to talk about mental health for a minute.
Okay.
We've talked about this topic off and
Yeah.
on. I've definitely had my mental health challenges over the years and decades of trying to run a business, and raising kids, and also
Yeah.
having genetic predispositions to, I was diagnosed with bipolar my early 20s. So there was always been a decades of work to sort of maintain positive, but I think from our discussions, actually, I'll let you sort of describe, how do you approach, what are your mental health challenges generally, and how do you approach dealing with them?
Mine usually stem in areas of focus and in areas of just impulsivity, sometimes, it's hard for me to stay focused for long periods of time. And, I think that can turn into anxiety, which again can breed impulsivity. And that can be challenging at times, especially, trying to stay on top of work. When I have a bunch of different things, multitasking, um, I need to focus on one or the other. I can kind of be drawn between a few different working tasks, right? And then obviously that doesn't help with um, getting them done effectively. It also, leads to more time. So, um, you know, that is a challenge that I try to work with and try to, like, really use that 52-17 rule, where I can work for 45 minutes to an hour. And then after that, go do something different, go downstairs, or, that's why I like this treadmill idea, or just something, for 15 minutes, just engage, then try another task, or just, redo the same thing, but pick it up later. Um, I think those are a couple of my challenges that I struggle with at times, and that I work through by, yeah, just really trying to, like, know when, okay, I'm not being effective right now. I need like a 15-minute break, or I need to, like, change it up or do something, get my brain off work, because I'm just, running into the same thought process or obstacles. So
Do you
that's what I would say for myself.
do you feel it when you, like, when you're working away, and then do you feel that switch when you kind of fallen into like that unproductive zone?
Yeah, I do. I'd start to, like, realize, because I'll start to, like, look at something else, and I'll be like, oh, like, what is that? Like, for example, I'm shopping for furniture right now, right? So, like, anytime I'm on the internet, or anytime I have something open, whatever. Like if there's a space for advertising, I usually will get something about furniture or something like that. And I'm always like, oh, like, Wayfair's always got something interesting on, right, that I'm interested in or whatever. So um that definitely is something that I notice when I start to go off task and go on to, something that's just completely not related. And then all of a sudden, like, oh man, the last 10 minutes I've been looking at chairs or something, So,
Yeah.
um, right. But also, like, specifically right now, like this next month, like, since I'm moving into my new house, my first ever, like, my house, like, obviously it'll be harder for me to have focus near that 1 week. But once I'm there, I do think that, like, once I have my own place, once I'm like in my own space, have this stuff, like my focus will actually triple or be much better because like I'll have, I don't know, like I just feel like it's like a significant stepping stone in in someone's life. And I do think that a lot of my anxieties and a lot of things that cause me to lose focus are based on things that I want for myself and things that I see for myself, or lifestyles that I want, whatever. And I do think that this is a step in the right direction towards easing some of those. So
Yeah. Yeah, that's it's interesting.
plus, it's
Uh
easier to meet women when you're not taking them to your mom's basement.
yeah, I could see that.
So
Unless they really like your mom.
that's a red flag for me then.
um yeah, no, I can relate to the impulsivity, and same thing. I also find when I'm easily distracted, I need to walk away, because now you're wasting time.
Yeah.
You could, I mean, you could bulldoze through and get whatever you're working on done, but it's very high probability that it's going to take you 3 times longer, or it's going to be like low quality when you're done.
Mhm.
And you just know that that's the case. So it's way better to walk away, like you say, go for a walk or whatever, and come back when you're refocused. And then, because it's, even though you're walking away 15-20 minutes away, you're not working, but you come back and now you're
Yeah.
can get through that in an hour, versus it would have taken you the rest, half a day to get through if you were just trying to barrel through it while you're really want to do something else, right? So yeah, that 5217 was I fallen off of that wagon. I haven't been doing it just because my day I'm actually at the point where I really need to refocus on. Summer is so hard with kids, and
Yeah.
routines are every day is different. Like right when I'm done this, I have to go to the lake to pick up my kids. And so it's so all over the place. So I almost like kind of give up in the summer in a way,
Yeah.
in
That's
terms
fair.
of like, the summer's just chaos and it's a shit show. And I'm just gonna leave it at that and just get whatever I can get done, I get
Yeah.
done. And I try not to like put heavy things into my summers, like heavy projects that I know.
Yeah.
Try to keep it light, because it's just it's like that. And I do want to have that kind of good energy for being with my kids, because you only get sort of so many summers with them, that when they're young, and then eventually, so. But yeah, so it's definitely tougher to focus. But the taking the regimented breaks, if you can structure your day, is huge.
Oh yeah.
And
I love it a lot.
yeah, and specifically, so what are some of the things that you do during your breaks?
Oh, go on my phone or go outside and play with my cat, walk around downstairs and catch up on Arsenal news, shop for furniture. Um, so they go kick the ball around in my house, like make
Yeah,
food, lay
yeah,
down sometimes, like
yeah.
it's random. There's nothing specific. It's just not calls or it's not
Not
emails, like,
working. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I tend to. I'll Sometimes I'll do a quick 7-minute workout, or
Yeah.
I stretch. I find stretching like phenomenal. Like stretching just resets my energy.
Yeah.
or just a quick set of push-ups, sit-ups type of thing. But yeah, making a bite to eat, or I actually have been recently I have a bowl in my kitchen
Yeah.
that I fill with ice and ice water, and because my eyes get kind of heavy and kind of
Yeah.
pressure behind
Oh
my
yeah.
eyes, and I find when I'm like that is, I don't know, it kind of affects the rest of my brain, and I
Yeah.
find literally stuffing my face into a bowl full of ice water and then just for a few seconds, you have to hold your breath. So just, I don't know, it's like an instant cure.
Yeah.
And it, like, weirdly, I don't know, there must be some nerves or something to do with eyes that affect energy in your body, because I find it completely re-energizes me.
Oh yeah.
So I'll do that sometimes.
I've heard
um
this like cold baths like that, or like cold
mhm.
plunges specifically really help with like in comparison to like something like they're comparing it to like cocaine, the effects of like cocaine on your brain, and like the instant dopamine rush and like alertness that you get when you do cocaine is like dwarfed in comparison and like in comparison to like duration, longevity, and like
Yeah,
actual intensity of a cold plunge, or like they compared it to, like they said, like actually dunking yourself in like an Arctic temperature like water. So like if you're in like, by the Atlantic Ocean or whatever, jumping in that in like August, like
yeah,
for like a
yeah.
second, right? Like wakes you up. It just makes you feel like it apparently cures everything. Crazy.
Yeah, and if you can turn that into a daily like, when I learned about Wim Hof, I started
Yeah.
doing the Wim Hof method, including the breathing exercises, and I've religiously been doing that for years now. Every single day, I'll
Yeah.
have a cold shower at least once a day before bed for sure. And if I do a heavy workout and have a shower after, because I want to get the
Yeah.
sweat off, I'll finish it with a cold shower always. The only problem with the shower is during the summer, in my house, I can't really, the water doesn't get cold enough. Like, it's
Yeah. No.
kind of cold, but it's kind of luke cold, and
You
it's
need one
not
of those
cold
metal
enough.
tubs.
So yeah, in the winter it's fine. It gets, because I guess the pipes, whatever, run through the ground. I don't know, or
Yeah.
through the maybe our walls aren't as insulated as they should be. I don't know why, but the water is definitely a lot colder. So it works fine in the winter, but
Yeah.
yeah. So, but yeah, 100%. It's like breathing and cold. It's a biohack, right? But
Oh yeah.
it kind of goes back to, biologically, it's really recently, we've, at least in our world, we now live pretty much all the time indoors, or at least the majority of people do. Uh,
Yeah.
we spend relatively little time outside, so you're not exposed to temperature changes too much, right?
No.
And there's your body, like, it I find it kind of like cooling your body's ability to cool itself, and to warm itself, to regulate its own temperature. It's like a muscle.
Yeah.
If you're not forcing it to do that regularly, it gets dormant and poor. And I remember watching a study that they did on uh runners. This is a long time ago. I watched this, where, and the study was about, cooling, and they measured it by perspiration. So they had people, they would have people be all wired up with sensors everywhere, and they would have them go onto a treadmill, and they took people that were all the way from very unfit
Mhm.
to kind of average fitness, all the way to like marathon runners, like crazy level
Yeah.
fit. And they found very consistently that the less fit you were, so the people that were unfit, they would come on the treadmill, and they would get them to, run, or they would get their heart rate to a certain level. Okay, so obviously your marathon runners, that they can't get them to go the same speed, because somebody who's not isn't going
Yeah.
to run as fast as a marathon runner. But so I think they did it on heart rate. So they got them to do a certain amount of exercise at a certain level of heart rate for a certain amount of time, kind of equal across all. And they measured how quickly they could detect perspiration on the body, how quickly it took the body to perspire, in meaning how quickly the body mechanisms would kick in to start cooling itself. So the unfit people, it would take whatever, if they were on the treadmill for 10 minutes or 15 minutes or 20, I don't know how long they were on it. It would take them like whatever, upwards to 5 minutes or more for them to detect any sweat. When they got to the marathon runners, they started sweating as they were stepping onto the treadmill before they even started running. That's how like fine-tuned their, I'll never forget it, because they were, so in terms of people, like now their climate's warming up and all this, I kind of feel like the way that is being we need more money to better cooling and buildings and all that, like help people escape the heat, and I just that's backwards. And now when we were young, there was a much lower threshold for example, canceling soccer games. So now we had a few weeks back, we had a couple of days where it was pretty hot, like in the low 30s.
Yeah.
And Wiza canceled all soccer games for all kids. And so many of us were going, well, yeah, it's warm, but these are kids. Like it's fine. Like, why would you it's all nowadays it's all liabilities and legalities, right? And whatever. They don't want to be in the hook in case one kid gets, heat exhaustion or something. But it's ridiculous because we need to actually be training in ourselves to, like, you need if we're, otherwise we're just all gonna never go outside, right? And you see that, right? People, there's such a fine temperature range that people feel comfortable. Anything outside of that, they're complaining, right? Oh, it's so hot, I don't want to go outside, or oh, it's so cold, I don't want to, it's like, but you feel that way because you don't go outside. Like once I actually love running in the heat. I love the sweating. I love and I've seen when I was really poor shape back when I was just drinking and partying a lot and just was working out, and it was pretty poor shape. I remember vividly, I was traveling in Australia at the time, and Australia gets pretty hot in the summers. I remember vividly the feeling of feeling very uncomfortable in heat. And it was just kind of like like my body was like, can't deal with it. Like you just kind of, but ever since I, fell back into shape and now I'm in pretty good physical shape, I never have issue. I don't even think about it. I never look at the temperature. I go, whatever, it's 35, 36. Oh, it's pretty hot, but still, like it never, I feel hot. I feel the heat, but for whatever reason, it's not that uncomfortable. You know what I mean? I can still do whatever. And so that I definitely know, like through experience, that you have to train your body too. And when you train it, your body will no longer feel uncomfortable because it knows how to adjust quickly, right? It knows how to increase the cooling or increase the heating, and you don't feel that discomfort. But we're being pushed to not do that, to run away from it and go into an artificial environment as the way to deal with it. And I think that's just going to have negative long-term effects, but whatever. Anyway, but yeah, no, mental health now is obviously a big challenge now. Like COVID's changed a lot of things in terms of working from home and not having that. I think people aren't physically interact as much, or you're not going to workspace as much, many people, so there's, I mean, we that's a huge need that we have. So I think there's a lot of, it's interesting now, but also at the same time it's raised awareness, and we're building yeah, I think we're understanding it a lot more. We're understanding who we are. It helps us to understand like who we are as a species, you know, like in a way. So
Oh yeah,
I
hundred
don't know.
percent.
Yeah. So anyway, yeah, I think that's thanks. Thanks for
Awesome.
the chat. Our chats are always fun. So
Yeah,
thanks for doing this.
I'm happy to be the first guest on the podcast.
Yeah.
First of many.
Yeah. Yeah, should be fun. All right. Thanks,
Cool.
Christian.
See ya.
And yeah, see you later.
See you around, Mike. Thanks for the time.
Yep. Take care. Okay. We can cut it there. I'll get Justin to edit the rest. So
Nice.
yeah, how did you?
I mean, yeah, it's chill. Just having a conversation. Yeah, I think if we just improve the background, your background.
And that's a wrap. I hope our discussions today have given you some insights, inspiration, or even just food for thought. Whether it's navigating the world of business, championing mental health, adapting to remote work, or keeping up with the latest tech trends, remember, every challenge is a gift, an opportunity to learn more about yourself, others, and the world around us. I want to extend a big thank you to all our listeners for tuning in. Your support truly means the world. If you found value in today's conversation, please consider sharing this podcast with a friend or leaving us a review. It helps more people discover these stories and insights. I'm Mikey Vashu, signing off for now. Stay curious, stay resilient, and I'll catch you in the next episode.